used to drag here back in high school. That railroad crossing up there is exactly a quarter-mile away from here. On green, I'm going for it.
And just like that, man, I finally get the overall standings. You've told me I have it locked in. My internet might be choppy here, so let me know if it is. And Goal Stoppers comes out yesterday and takes my overall standings away from me, just like that.
Yep, took it in pretty interesting fashion too, with your team playing on Monday Night Football. I don't know. That video was choppy for me. I got to watch it again on YouTube. I think it's my connection, but it looks like it was very well put together. I don't know why I got to be Paul Walker, but
well, it's fun, dude. I originally, and I think it is. I'm going to be choppy because it's a bad connection for me as well. So I don't know. Let me know if we still have a bad connection or not. But I had a whole video planned out, completely different. I finally got ahead of it and started to do it beforehand, and then it didn't make sense anymore because I wasn't in the top seed. So just like that, man. That's why we can't do these things on the fly.
Yeah, well, I mean, anything could really happen. That's really been the story of the league. Everything that we thought, I guess, with this wild card weekend kind of came to fruition. We had 5 out of the 8 games. The number 4 seed made its way through. So, it was interesting to see a lot of that play out. A lot of two of those games came down to last night. Few of them were really determined on that win-loss card, and for a while that was teetering back and forth. So really, really cool to see how that all unfolded. But the playoff bracket moves on.
It moves on, and I can't be completely cool about it. So I am wearing the team that makes fun of Goal Stoppers team purposely today. So wearing my parody tees, terrible towel, shirt, and I also heard that Jack is down from Minnesota to Florida. It explains why it's cold as shit down here. So he brought the cold weather for him as well. So it's been.
Are you the guy that wears the Uggs when it's like 62 degrees?
I don't know. I don't own a pair of Uggs, but I mean, I wish I kind of did, because I was about to say I own some Crocs, but I don't know. Is that like too old, man, or what?
I don't know. That's very Florida-y. But
if we had like parody tees Crocs, like if we had Giants whiny Crocs, would you jump in on those?
Yeah. I mean, we can make Florida Gator Crocs. I think that would be pretty ironic. But anyway, crazy week, man. Again. Last week of the buys, which really, it's exciting to see that all teams are now in action full force. Couple surprises, man. Jacksonville completely manhandled Tennessee in a huge division game. Believe it or not, Jacksonville's not out of it. So be interesting to see what they do down the stretch there. Houston almost pulled up a massive upset against Dallas, which would have, I guess, dethroned you and me at the same time with our win-loss card. But Dallas did ultimately end up coming through. Buffalo flexed. I mean, New England second half saved their season. I mean, they looked awful in that first half last night. I don't know if you caught the game, but man, it was bad to watch.
Yeah, I'm a real fan, man. I know you've missed a few Giants games for some reason, but there's a reason I pay like $300 a friggin' month for DirecTV, because they're the only ones with the package until next year, and then I'm free. But yes, I did watch the game, and it was garbage for a bit. It seems like it's It seems like it's not Mac Jones. It seems like it's the offensive coordinator calls here. But either way,
well, they don't have one, right? That's the problem. And you're trying to have somebody that doesn't have that offensive mindset create those types of calls, and I just don't understand the logic behind it. But that's Belichick for you. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. But Miami losing kind of helped but hurt them at the same time, right? I mean, they lost to the Chargers, and they're both buying for that final spot in the wild card. So I don't know, do you see hope that they can catch a team like Miami at this point? Do you have your sights set on LA instead? I mean, how does that play out for the rest of the season in your head?
This is like a psychology experiment for you, trying to get like inside the mind of a delusional Patriots fan at this point, which I haven't really been, but I'm starting to feel that way a little bit. So I'll play. Okay, I'll bite. They have the Raiders this week. They lose this game, like whatever. They needed this last night. They need the Raiders, and then they have the Bengals, who are 2 games ahead of them, right? So that's it, right? You got to think the Bengals are going to lose at one more game, maybe. Then they have the Dolphins, and then they have the Bills. They could lose that Bills game, and hope the Bills beat Miami, and then beat Miami, and then you could be ahead of the Chargers, and the Dolphins, and you have a shot at the Cincinnati Bengals potentially. So I saw something that was like 20% chance to make the playoffs. I mean, come on. I feel it's like 40% if I had to put some money on it.
I would concern yourself more with Baltimore than Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati is going to actually win the division, which puts them and New England out of the equation. So Baltimore has been playing rough, and obviously they have injuries all over the place, but they squeaked out a win against Pittsburgh, I guess a huge division game. Pittsburgh, 5-8 team, man. They got to win out in order for my little hope for Mike Tomlin to keep his little 500 record alive intact. But I don't know how that's all going to work out. We'll see, man. Pittsburgh just isn't the same team. They've had a lot of injuries defensively as well. Sorry, Linda. But Cincinnati is a beast in December lately, man. And they did not disappoint against the division game against Cleveland.
Well, a lot of cool things happened this week. Some cool things are happening next week because, like you had said before, we got some Saturday games. Nobody's on the bye next week. We had our playoffs that started it off. There were some big upsets, probably even bigger upsets in our UNfantasy league than there was in the overall league here too, I think.
Yeah, there were for sure. I mean, I'll pull this up. The powers that be will allow me to share my screen. There we go. So these are the overall standings, but let's just get to the wild card weekend. So as you can see, these are actually seeded in a way where it's 2, 3, and 4, top to bottom in each respective game. So you can see how many 4th place seeds pulled out the upsets. 28 Falcons 3 was the best comeback of the best game of the week for sure. That was arguably the toughest game on paper, and they pulled it out, man. And they pulled it out in pretty decisive fashion on Sunday night. Battle Bunnies, tough luck with that. They had a great week. I think they finished 11th overall for the week, and they just came up short in that matchup. But if you look at the rest of the games, I mean, you pin them up against really anybody else in the AFC, with the exception of Royale with cheese or bladder kickers, and they would have won it, man.
Yeah, that's it, man. And we have so many things to chat about today, so we'll try to keep it to the point, and then shut me up if I'm giving away too much for here. But we had some big people that are out of the playoffs. Like we have Battle Bunnies, which is they are Frank, We had Christakins, who you almost gave her really bad advice, because I saw the chat. I don't know if you knew I was in that chat, but I saw the Discord chat where you said play the Lions win-loss card over Houston win-loss card. Houston came this close to beating Dallas, and if she did, maybe she wouldn't have been out of the playoffs. But you saved yourself at the end. Houston saved you.
I would have put money on anybody. If you asked 10 people that same question, 10 of them would have agreed with the way that I said it prior to that week playing out. I mean, 0 people thought that Houston had a shot against Dallas. 0.
Yeah. I played Houston with lost cards, so I'm not making any judgment. I'm just saying they saved you.
I mean, I didn't need savings. They asked my advice. They came to me for the advice. I gave them the right advice, so clearly I was right. But she, her other playing cards didn't pan out too well, and she picked a rough week to have a minimal point total here.
Yep. Well, just like that, I think we talked about. It's not over yet, because we've always said here that it's not just about this championship bracket, this losers bracket, right? Which is going to be fun, epic, be a nice little trophy and award for that. But this thing is it's an NFT league. It's a digital collectible league. So it lasts forever. It's the ultimate keeper league. And we set this up where it has weekly games, right? So I still haven't won a game this week, or a weekly game. We have our yearly games, which we're going to be calling the all-time standings. And then and this thing's going to go on before. So it's not just the brackets. We want to make sure that people understand that this is about weekly and all time.
Yeah, well, the weekly winners are still awarded. I mean, if you look this week, they're still crowned, and ironically, it's SP Film Viewer who had the bye in the bracket. So clearly they did not take the week off. Super Trooper obviously needed that massive week in order to come back and really beat Lazy Lion, who. I thought they had it. I really thought Lazy Lion had it, especially as of last night. That win-loss card really would have made it interesting, because I believe Super Trooper also had Arizona's offense. And if they played like somewhat similar to the way they played in the first half, threw a couple more touchdowns on the board, man, it would have made that game really, really close.
Yep.
But nonetheless, it turned out the way it did. Super Trooper definitely pulled out the victory in that particular week, and then obviously got the 1 yard short award. BA definitely 0 point total, but it was ironic. It's not like he didn't have anybody playing. All of his cards canceled each other out, which I thought was pretty funny when I was putting the scoring together. So clearly loser of the week, but there's awards for that too, right? So he'll be getting a couple cards to hopefully improve his lineup heading through the rest of the season here, and then obviously have those digital collectibles to sit back on for forever. It's in his wallet.
Yep. So just like every week, the winner or the loser gets the 2 cards. The 1 yard short gets 1 card, and then the one with the least amount of points is going to get 2 cards. It's also cool too. You mentioned the Lazy Lions. So we've and we set this thing up where people can join anytime. We continue to add people on. So we got our 70th player last week that jumped in here. Actually pulled some pretty good cards that almost put him in the playoffs right out of the gate. So Team Casanova jumped in here, which is awesome. So I didn't have to make any like 69 Gronk jokes or anything, or Linda wouldn't make any 69 Gronk jokes, for crying out loud. And so number 70 player came in, almost made the playoffs. But what's cool about it is the Lazy Lions is actually that originally was my Lazy Lion NFT. And I just thought it would be really fun, because Lazy Lions is a NFT project that allows you to kind of, the NFTs that you own, you can build off that IP. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to actually buy into the league, physically bought into the league, set my Lazy Lion into a different wallet, bought 10 cards specifically for the Lion to play, and have the community of the Lazy Lions vote on this. So again, we had talked about in the beginning, if there was enough time in the day or the year or the month or whatever, we were going to do some really cool activations, and we've done that. We've done them with the Battle Bunnies and others. But the Lazy Lions, the goal was to have the Lazy Lion community vote on it, and they did. They voted on the lineup this week, which was cool. What did they do? How did they make their picks?
So, first of all, thanks to Casanova and that group for having us on Friday to explain the Unfantasy League. Had a blast with those guys even after you had to go. We were talking World Cup, we were talking a little bit of baseball. Definitely fun to have those chats about sports with like-minded folks and really great guys. So, kudos to that. And then over the weekend, they were hitting us up with, I guess you sent them the cards that the Lazy Lion had. And then they started a Twitter thread, and that Twitter thread yielded some results. Those results came in. We set the lineup for them. Again, it didn't really work out to the advantage of moving on in the bracket, but it was really cool to see the community engage with that. As you can see, they actually played their wild card as the offense. So they got the concept of the wild card and how that fits into the lineup. And, it was really just cool to see a community get together and kind of put this lineup together for their respective team.
Yep. 100%, man.
That
Exciting to continue.
win-loss card for Jacksonville, man, that crushed them.
Yeah, dude, it crushed a lot of people. It's continued to crush my boy Kale's dreams, because every time it's like, okay, I can finally play the Jacksonville card, and that's what it does. So, and it's sucked for me because I have the owner's pass, which gave me the wild card for Jacksonville, which really didn't help me one bit. Anything that you saw in the lineup, and I know there's a lot, and as we continue to add players, it gets a little bit more tricky. But anything you saw that was a great play or a really bad play other than that Jacksonville card?
Well, a couple people actually set their full sets as wild cards, and I thought that was a really interesting move. Goal Stoppers set the win-loss card as her wild card. That was a kind of a risky move as well. Again, in a week where she definitely didn't need the win or the points, but the move made her spring into the first overall position. So I think that was arguably the move of the week. Setting her wild card as that win-loss, getting her those all-important 25 points. I think you caught her ear a little bit close on that because you convinced her that for sure New England was going to win. That clearly was the right decision. And, it's really, really cool to see her on top of the standings, I must say. I mean, I would have definitely loved to see that other video that you were planning on making, but hey, I guess there's always next week.
Yep, there's other people in it, but it ended with me on I won't even say what I was going to say, but it ended with me with the victory, and it had to change that up on the fly. So we'll get it out there again. We already started a little bit of it, so there's going to be use cases for it because we have some cool announcements and surprises that we're going to pump into this.
So let's take a quick look at this week's matchups, because obviously everybody that won their division is now playing the teams that moved on, and I think we have some interesting ones that we can discuss here. So, pulling up the wild card round. I mean, the wild card round was last week. This is just your traditional wild card round. And, the wild, I guess, nomenclature that we're throwing out at this is really relative to the wild cards being introduced in this playoff or bracket format as well. So everybody still is eligible to use their respective wild cards. All of that continues through to the end of the season. But looking at the matchups here, man, I mean, NFC, you got Football Goal going up against Goal Stoppers. Kind of an interesting matchup there. We'll see. I think Goal Stoppers is gonna end my wife's season, but we'll see how that plays out.
You never know.
Super Troopers going up against the juggernaut in Mac Joneson for unpoints. This is my game of the week, man. I really think this one's going to be a close one. I think that the way Super Troopers came back last week and the moves that Mac Joneson for unpoints makes on a week-to-week basis is going to really make this an interesting matchup.
Yep, and she's locked in, man. She's locked into this. So, and she's one of the most competitive people I know. So we'll see how that goes. It's weird because it's like it's on both sides of my family on that one. So,
dude, I got 4 members in my household in this final in this wild card game here. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know who to root for or what to play out. I mean, all 4 of us can get eliminated this week. That's how crazy it is. Speaking of which, so Black Hammer is facing me. We'll see how that plays out. Black Hammer was obviously a force in the beginning of the season. They clearly have some great cards that are in their lineup. So we'll see how all that shapes up. Muffin Punts has really dove off a cliff over the last few weeks. Their lineup, their cards have not really been playing getting them the points that they need. And Monday Night Sauce came out of nowhere and pulled out the victory. So that could easily be an upset in the making. How about Mountain Hikers against Massholes? This is another great game that I guess could potentially shape up. Mountain Hikers was actually in line to win this week as well, and they fell a little short as of last night's game, but they had a hell of a week this week.
Well, a couple things with Monday Night Sauce squeaking through that, because I felt really bad. Flag on the play was freaking in Japan setting his lineups. That's how much he cares about this stuff. And it just was a caught of a week, just draw bad luck on some week. He did make a couple bad moves, I think. Went heavy in on Jacksonville, which I think cost him. But it stinks. But we will say before the end of this, there is an opportunity. The thing is not over yet. Beyond just our weekly and our all-time standings, there is something cool that we are going to do. And just back to your Mountain Hikers and Massholes. Mountain Hikers is a former Masshole, as far as I know. So she's a maniac now. But we got two Massholes going against each other. So that's going to be interesting.
Well, I was another late comer to the league, and definitely had a starter pack that bumped her into this playoff bracket, and then clearly flexed some muscles this past week. I mean, I believe that she was also in a pretty competitive game and pulled it out. Massholes obviously was on top of the overall standings for a number of weeks in this league in this season. So we'll see how we'll see if that's another upset in the making. Again, our most recent, I guess, weekly winner, SP Film Viewers, going up against another very conscious, very able, very, very understanding the way this league works player in 28 Falcons 3. They had a massive watching that unfold in real time. It was really interesting to see the cards that 28 Falcons 3 played that really got them through to this point. So do they have enough to upset SP Film Viewers and put an end to their season? I don't know. We'll see.
He's been steady. He's been steady all along, and he made the video today. So Paul, we'll see. Who do I got? That's what I really care about. I don't really care about your shit and everybody else's. Like, I just need to know what I'm up against.
Well, you're facing Bladder Kickers, who you lose this game, dude. There is zero trash talk that you have available left.
So Bladder Kickers lost. So Bladder Kickers knocked off who?
So let's go back
to our. Is that Breaky and Commander Frost?
Breaky and Commander Frost posted 67.8 points. So would have beat both of us this week, that's for sure. Played the right cards. Definitely squeaked it out with the win-loss. I think that was the deciding factor on Sunday Night Football. Overall, this is a team that finished dead last a couple weeks and, kind of crawled their way back up, made it into the bracket, and squeaked by as the number 4 seed in that game. So, man, you got a lot of explaining to do if you lose that game.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's what you say every week. I am in the 700-point club, which you have yet to be there. Are we giving out this POAP today? So there's a POAP with the Battle Bunnies, the 13 days of Christmas here. And what's the logistics of it? I mean, you created it. What do we do here for this?
So I don't know. This is all like I'm on the spot right now.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
What exactly are you saying?
No, I think so there's some people here that are here just to get the POAP. I guess they go to the Battle Bunnies Discord to find out specifically how to get that, and they'll get this free NFT called a POAP, Proof of Attendance Protocol, which is part of the 13 days of Christmas that the Battle Bunnies are putting on. And somebody that has that POAP is going to win a UNfantasy Sports Pass. So listen to what I said carefully. I'm not going to get into that going further, but we're here at UNfantasy Football, and that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, not really sure what exactly you said there, but a lot of cryptic information that
was it because I was breaking up
to rewatch over and over again.
Was it because I was breaking up, or was it being?
No,
cryptic?
I just kept picturing myself as Paul Walker trying to race you on this, quarter mile. Like, it was the most dramatic quarter mile ever.
It was long in the tooth.
But I remember when that came out, it was oh my goodness, that was the greatest scene in the world.
Nice.
Final game, Royale with Cheese coming out of nowhere, almost winning the week himself, squaring up against Surviving the Survivor. I'm going to put my money on Royale with Cheese on this one.
Yeah.
When he hit me up this week after he saw that he pulled out the victory, he's like, I think his quote was, "I'm the greatest loser of all time," which, clearly gets the concept, and funny to put 2 and 2 together with that. So let's take a quick peek at the overall standings before we jump into the games of the week. So as you said, congratulations to Goal Stoppers pulling out the number 1 spot. Not by much, but it's definitely enough to claim that 1 seed. Nothing but fumbles got a little bit more work to do to climb to that top spot. I think a weekly win would kind of solidify it for you, but
Dude, you could just be consistent too, man. You don't need to win. I've been consistent pretty much all year. I had a couple drops the first week or two, but after that, man, I've been very consistent, and it's slow and steady, man.
Yep. And your point about this is never over. There's always a race to the top. I mean, you look at some of these teams here. The Battle Bunnies got knocked out. They are clearly in the hunt for that number 1 overall spot. They're less than a win-loss card away from that spot right now. A couple other teams here, Lazy Lions up there, misinterpreting the rules. Even Breaky was another late comer to this league that, definitely has some cards that put him in a position to be in this spot. So Mad Max as well. I mean, there is a run and gun for these top spots here in the overall standings, and that lives with you forever. Those data and that statistics and everything will be added to your owner's pass. Next season, it resets, but these stats live on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What do you got next?
So I think that really covers the overall I mean, we could take a snapshot of the losers bracket, but all this is accessible on the website itself, unfan.xyz. I've also been pretty active in putting these updates in the Telegram channel. After the 1:00 games on Sundays, or even halftime on the night games, the national games, just kind of keeping people engaged and giving them updates in real time as I get the stats and they roll in. But just keep an eye on that. If you haven't joined the Telegram channel, do so. There's a lot of fun stuff that goes on in there. Linda and I have meme battles pretty often. It does get pretty competitive on that front as well.
Yep, I've not partaken in your meme battles, but you are good at them from what I see for this. I'm going to put in a link in here because we did look for the last 2 weeks and let me know if this works or not. But for the last 2 weeks, I freaking forgot to we've done our weekly picks, and I forgot to tally them up. So let's not do that this week. And I created a little Google form just before we started here where people can kind of jump in there and they can make their picks. So then it's there, it's locked in stone, because I have no idea who won last week. Do you have any idea?
I don't actually. I know that a couple of the games that I thought were going to win didn't win. I thought, Detroit was going to lose to Minnesota. Dude, is that one of the top 5 offenses in the league all of a sudden? I mean, it seems like week after week they're posting 30+ points.
Detroit?
Yeah.
I think they started doing that in the beginning of the season. I'll finish that note on that. When you go to that form and you make your picks, you got to get a chance to win a Hooligan Battle Bunny. So that's something very cool that's going to happen next week. But all you got to do is make your picks, and you got a good chance to win.
Yeah, so that Hooligan's Battle Bunny, that's going to be something that's launching later on this month. And, definitely want to get your hands on one of those because they will be a very limited supply project. And the art is nuts on that. I mean, if you know anything about Frank and Krista Lanatra and what they put together so far with the Battle Bunnies and the Ghost Bunnies and, some of their just other work on the tattoo front, I mean, the detail in these are absolutely incredible. And Krista yelled at me the other night because I said things I wasn't supposed to. So I got to be careful with what I can disclose here on it, but it's definitely going to be something you want to keep your eyes on.
You got a potty mouth? Is that what actually, she's got a potty mouth, so that wouldn't be that. So you just drop some info.
No, I dropped some alpha when I wasn't supposed to, and I got yelled at. It's okay.
All right. Well, Let's do this. So we'll make our picks in a minute, and we'll end it. We'll end it with that. But I will say that everybody that is out so far. So there are people that lost before the playoffs, didn't make the playoffs, and they went what's called in the consolation bracket, which we call is the winners bracket. And there were some people that that played really well all year and are out. And it's not just about this championship losers bracket. It is about weekly and all time. But I like to go one-on-one, man. And so I hope I don't lose this week. I don't think I'm going to lose this week, but we will announce before the week's over everybody that was in the championship bracket playoffs last week that lost. There is still light at the end of the tunnel. That's not a train. And there will be an opportunity for them to jump in to the winners bracket. So don't worry, everybody that's in the winners bracket. We originally were going to go with only 4 of the teams, 2 from each conference. We're going to duke it out for a semifinal and final matchup. That's still going to happen. You just get to have a little bit more fun because there'll be some people that lost in the championship bracket that'll be joining them, and we'll get those details out.
Yeah, John was a frequent, I guess, participant in participation ribbons, so he's a big fan of that concept. So we're going to keep the spirit alive. Everybody's a winner in the UNfantasy League. No, but it's a great way to keep people, keep people active. Obviously, we keep saying the overall standings are critical. We keep stressing that point, but the bracket standings, the head-to-head, it brings a new element to this game that we introduced into the playoff format. So, we're having a blast with it. We definitely want to keep the momentum moving forward on it. So keep tabs on that. Keep tabs on the emails, the Telegram. We're going to make a little bit more announcements on that, but all of that, it will not start this week. It will begin the following week, so you still have time for that. So any of those free agencies, which we will add to the current free agent pool as well. Again, there are some full sets in there, which will act as wild cards if you so choose to play them. Refer to the wild card page on the website for a little bit more details and information on the rules on that. But let's jump into those picks, man.
Let's jump into the picks. Let's do it. Do you want to pull it up from there and we'll go it? And people can still feel free to type in their picks here if they want so we can see it. But make sure after this is over, you go and put it into that form for a chance to win that Yule again.
Yep. So I will pull up my form and I'll do it live so there's no discrepancies.
Yep. And Jack says he's waiting for his Battle Bunny Christmas gift. Well, as a Spartan holder, he's going to get one shortly. But Jack, just go and make your picks, man. I was super impressed last week with Jack, with how he, much of the game he knew. And I thought of him at one point this week because I forget what game it was, but I was watching a game and I was like, Jack was spot on with his analysis of this. So I think Frank and Krista should be hitting up Jack, not us, when they're making their picks.
Well, I will tell you this. I don't know if we agreed on it at the time, but I did scoop up the Patriots defense in my traditional fantasy league, and they rocked it for me. I didn't need them. I actually won the game before they even got to play. But that defensive scoop and score from that Hopkins turnover definitely made all the difference. I think I got like 23 points from my defense on that. So I know Jack and I talked about that a little bit in detail last week. And yeah, his analysis of the game, he clearly knows football. There's no doubt in my mind about that one. I hope he's doing all right in Florida. This should be a cakewalk. We'll get to his game in a second here. Let's start on the Thursday night game. Division clash. I guess it's in Seattle. Seattle kind of surprised me this week, man. Carolina came in and basically owned them. I feel like Carolina hasn't won a road game in like 5 years, and they walk into Seattle of all places and beat them. San Francisco's playing on a whole different level, even with their third string quarterback, technically. I don't see Seattle doing much in this game, man. I'm going Seattle to lose, excuse me.
Yep. So we picked the losers here. I would say, I mean, I feel like what happens with these young quarterbacks that come out here, and kind of happened with like Bailey Zappi, is when they do great because they're not game planning for you originally. The team gets a little initial energy boost because you don't have to Jimmy Garoppolo or Mac Jones. But I feel like teams start to catch up to them, and I can't imagine that this Purdy guy is going to go all the way and do well. Long-winded way of saying Seattle loses. You're right, but it was funny. Brady's homecoming, and they're chanting a 2-syllable word that ends in D, and it wasn't Brady. It was Purdy.
Yep. I mean, I heard something interesting too, man. All these years this guy has played, I think he's only played against San Francisco in San Francisco, what, 1 or 2 times?
Yes, the second time.
Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, he's clearly been back to the Bay Area to play teams like, I guess Oakland at the time, but, growing up, I guess a Niners fan, I mean, I thought that was a shocking stat. I mean, the guy's been in the league pretty much, I guess longer than your kids have been alive, right? So,
yeah.
All they know is Brady.
Yep, it's crazy. I don't know what year it was. Every year the Patriots were in the mix there, but I think it was the 50th year anniversary because they brought like the all-time players out in the Super Bowl. That was in San Francisco. Brady lost, I think, in the AFC Championship game. That would have been a homecoming for him, but he got on there and they booed him. I guess because it's not really a local crowd, but they booed his ass, which is crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't please everybody, right? I mean, he's clearly the greatest of all time. It's going to piss people off. I mean, especially in a town like that where you got, a lineage of great quarterbacks, right? So we'll see. Moving on. Minnesota's back at home. I don't know. Is Jack going to be back in time for this game or is he going to be in Florida still? But the Colts go into town. Colts had the week off, which I guess inerts to their benefit to prepare for a game like this. Minnesota really dropped the ball against Detroit, man. I think they had a chance to not only solidify the division, but to really keep pace with teams like Dallas and Philly, who are now all of a sudden really hot contenders for that number 2 seed in the NFC. I think Minnesota bounces back, man. I think the Colts blow it.
Yeah. And as much as I was kind of hating on the Vikings a little bit, just because I didn't think they were that great, I do like them, and they're not that bad. So I say the Colts lose.
Yeah, and this is Jack brings up an interesting point here. This this is the start of the Saturday games, right? So there's not too many this week. I know the weekend of Christmas, most of the games will be on Saturday, which is the 24th, and Christmas is the 25th on a Sunday. There's only 3 or 4 games on that Sunday. So
is there a Thursday game this week too?
There is. The Seattle-San Francisco game is Thursday. Then we have a Saturday game. Then we have a Sunday game. And then we have Monday Night Football. I mean, this is the tail end of the NFL season over the past few years. This is what it looks like. It feels like there's games every day. So if you do have teams that you want to play, make sure you try to set your lineup for Thursday to ensure that the Saturday games don't hurt you.
The Saturday games don't hurt you. And Jack's pun is that Jeff Saturday, the coach of the Indianapolis Colts.
That was the pun. Baltimore heads to the dog pound. This, I don't know, man. Baltimore's offense has really not played well since Lamar's been out. Even the last few games he's been there, they really haven't played well.
How long has he out for?
Cleveland has fallen off earth, man. Their strength in their running game has been decimated. They've been really reliant on some of their special teams to even stay close in games. Their defensive line has been playing well, but overall, man, I mean, home game, division game, Baltimore's really fighting for that top spot against Cincinnati. They got to keep winning games, man. But I do not think that they will end up coming out of here with the victory. I think Baltimore loses.
Is Lamar definitely is out? How long is he out for?
I don't know if it's a definite thing. He's still listed as, I guess, questionable. They're going to kind of see how he plays it out this week, but it is a short week. Remember, this is a Saturday game, right? So I don't know if they're going to try to rush him back. They clearly won against the division game against Pittsburgh without him. Huge victory. I think that, I think they're going to try to keep him on the healing process against this team like Cleveland. I don't think they need to rush him back. Which may or may not hurt their chances. But I think that if I were the coaching staff on them, I would definitely try to prepare myself for Cincinnati, which I believe is coming in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna pick Baltimore to lose.
Baltimore to lose. Okay, we're on the same page with that one. All right, Miami goes to Western New York. Now, traditionally, this has always been, the Achilles heel of Miami. However, they have not played well over the last couple weeks. I don't know if it's been the West Coast trip. I don't know what it is, but this will be their third consecutive road game, division game. Buffalo's starting to get things together. Josh Allen, believe it or not, played with a lot of balls this past weekend. He was diving, he was running.
Man.
Yeah, but more so than I've seen him in recent times. But he's really, really stepped up against, not a bad defense in the Jets. I mean, the Jets, their offense is just in shambles, man. And that's really why they're not winning games lately. Miami looked really rough against a team like LA, the Chargers. And, I think Buffalo's smelling that blood, man. I think that they sense the weakness in Miami, third straight road game. I'm going to say Miami loses in New York.
Yeah, that'd be good for the Patriots anyway. So I say that as well.
Philly and Chicago, this is, arguably a no-brainer. I think Philly really wants that number 1 seed, and they're just going to keep crushing people until they get it. Chicago is just a hopeless team. I don't know if Justin Fields is going to be back. I don't see them being that Washington type game where they can create that upset. I don't know why it says Buffalo. I think that's a mistake on the form. But
yes, it's a mistake.
Buffalo Bears will lose.
Yep. No, I believe the Bears will also lose. I'll change that up.
Atlanta, New Orleans. This is always an interesting division game, right? I mean, it's very similar teams historically, very similar stadiums, ironically. New Orleans didn't really play bad against Tampa 2 weeks ago. They just kind of got the brunt end of, I guess, another Tom Brady fourth quarter comeback. Atlanta, on the other hand, has really had issues all season long. They have not been able to capitalize on the Cordero Patterson running game like they did the year before. They've used him more in special team formats than out of the backfield. I don't know if Mariota is the great answer for that team. Who do you got in this one, man?
I would pick Atlanta I would pick the Saints to lose on that one. I have the Atlanta win-loss card, which I traded for you. But I would say I'm going to pick New Orleans to lose that.
I got Atlanta losing in New
Orleans.
You're
going to play the card?
I don't know if I'm going to play the card. I have to analyze a few other matchups to see, because I have a shit ton of win-loss cards. I've tried to trade people, and I've just accumulated them over the course of the season, just by accident, really. Whether it was that week that I ended up at the top of the standings as the weekly winner. I think it was week 9. You can actually see it on the website under the tab of week 9, and you'll see my team there in case you need a reference point for it. Yep. But New Orleans defense, I really think that they're not that bad, and I think that Atlanta's offense is going to struggle against it. And if for whatever reason Andy Dalton, of all people, can find a few different receivers, man, I think that New Orleans has a shot, and they're at home, which I think gives them that extra little edge. But division game, dude, you never know. You never know. 100% right.
Yeah, dude, you never know. I mean, I know you have the Houston win-loss card because you always play that when I play that, but and accuse it to be the other way around. But that was not a that was a no-brainer that almost became a non-no-brainer as well. So maybe Philly loses to the Bears. You just never know this year.
Well, Linda was talking about it a little bit in the Telegram channel. There are these weeks, man, where there's upsets all over the place. It almost football is weird, right? Like sometimes you get a week where there's 7 punt returns for touchdowns, right? 3 blocked kicks, 2 safeties in the week. Like it seems like there's some sense of coordination with these weird stats that pop up, and upsets are one of those weird stats. It appears that at 1 week of every season, there's always that underdog team that kind of marches over the teams that are expected to win. Maybe it's this week. Maybe the Bears pull up this massive upset against a team like Philly. I don't see that happening, but then again, I didn't see the Texans staying in that game either, and taking Ezekiel Elliott to 20 seconds on the clock to finally give them the game.
Oh, when you said taking Ezekiel, I just thought you were going to say take a Z-Pack. It's just where my head went automatically for some reason. I will say, while we have this on the screen, these 2 logos, they were super hard to figure out. And I was like, those are the two logos when we created them 6 years ago, whenever it was, that, neither of us were like, we love it. They actually have grown on me. I actually kind of dig them, and looking at them right now, they look pretty good. But these and any other logos are open for suggestions if anybody has them, because there's, next year, season 2, it'd be good to have some other second string logos. And these are kind of the original OG logos for that.
Yeah, the second string logos are definitely offer room for growth in this whole concept, right? And it'll be a second generation second string logo. So our first generation second string logos obviously have the most value because they will be part of this inaugural collection. But I've always really been a fan of the Falcons one. I think that the caged bird with the tear is always that one always kind of resonated with me. But yeah, man, some of these are just really tough. And the Saints, I think, was one of them. I think at one point we thought it was like an ear of corn, and we were gonna have like crows eating it or something. If I remember,
I don't remember that. I do remember Dog the Bounty Hunter, but we didn't want to get sued, and we even knew back then. You didn't even have to be un-Nostradamus to know that show wasn't going to be on forever. So that wouldn't be very relevant these days. But there is a logo out there that we didn't put in here with Dog the Bounty Hunter on that stuff. I don't know. Like, I just thought when I was looking at that logo, it's we did try ones with like a murder scene around it, like crime tape. I think it works just flattened out like that. I know you didn't quite get it with the tire track, but it's a tough little logo to make look. You have to make it look similar because you have to instantly recognize that's the Saints logo, but also that this is something different and it's parody at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a tough one. So again, we'll open it up to the community, man. See what kind of suggestions we can come with. But if anybody's got anything for New Orleans, think along the lines of voodoo or some of the stuff down under. We'll keep the design ideas to to a PC concept. So just keep that in mind. We can have fun with this all day long, but we obviously want this to be a family fun, friendly, evergreen type content here. Moving on. All right, so here's an interesting one. Detroit coming off that massive win. I'm starting to become a real believer in that offense. I don't know why. But when you post 30 plus points a game week after week, fairly consistently, even though your defense gives up 40 points, and that's why their record is what it is. But, a team like the Jets do have a good defense. So it'll be an interesting battle from that side of the ball. I just don't know on the flip side if the Jets offense can do anything to keep up with some sort of a powerhouse offense that the Lions have lately. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Jets lose and keep losing. I guess to Jack's dismay on that, but I think the Lions are red hot right now, man.
What's funny, I love that Jack put that in there because I guess the Lions punted on their own 24, or faked a punt on their own 24-yard line, which is exactly the types of teams that we love in this league. So, and that's why they're actually one of the perfect seasons, one of the epic background ones as well. So,
yep. And they definitely have a history of sucking. So that, that clearly fits in line with this league. This is, I guess, another, I know Krista Lanacha threw a really cool second string logo together for the Lions. We already have one for the Jets as well. That one's really not too family friendly PC, but we allowed it. Anybody have suggestions on any of these logos? We're open to ideas on it. Overall, this is turning and evolving into really a community of owners, right? Like you own your UNfantasy owners pass. They will become franchises. So maybe, we implement a design that you create and therefore you go out and you seek to acquire that franchise. That's a very real possibility.
Yep.
So we want to build this thing with you guys. So any ideas, we're all ears.
And that Detroit Lions one, I think we have it perfect now with Krista. Like, she nailed it with that one. But you always want to do the ones that we threw out there originally as well.
Definitely. Well, here's two of my favorites. Although the Grumpy Cat, I don't know if that's a popular meme anymore. But
the cat died a couple years ago or 4 years ago, whenever the hell it was. But yeah, originally that had the nope on it. But look, it still looks like a Grumpy Cat, even if you don't know the Grumpy Cat meme.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess since the cat's dead, it grew in value, I guess, right? Don't things get more valuable after, they're no longer here. So
too bad that cat lived before the NFT world, because that owner could have done well with it. And Aaron Casanova is here. So Team Casanova, we actually said he's just jumping on, just got on here, but we mentioned him and the Lazy Lions before. So check that out earlier, Aaron. But I didn't realize I thought the guy's just being kind of like a cocky prick by putting his name Team Casanova, but his real name is Aaron Casanova. So my bad. Casanova, and welcome, and we had fun on that podcast or the Twitter space.
Yeah, it was a blast. And speaking of some of the content from that podcast, I mean, Argentina is beating Croatia 2-0 right now, so the world is watching on that one to see who's going to go to the World Cup finals. But we're talking real football here, so let's continue. Linda's Steelers going up against the, I guess, revived Carolina team. That recently came back from Seattle with a W. They haven't played well at home. Clearly, the NFC South is up for grabs. I mean, literally everybody is up for contention on winning that division this year. Steelers coming off a tough loss. This might be one of those weird, last second type games that gets decided, or one of those, blocked punt for a safety decides the game type of games. This one's a tough one for me to pick, so I'm going to let you pick it first.
I don't know. I always feel bad for as much as you look at guys like Mitch Trubisky and stuff, and when he's playing, you're like, this dude sucks. But you feel kind of bad that someone loses their job and then they come in there and you just kind of want them to do a little good. But he sucked. He was awful. So it depends if he's playing or their other shitty quarterback is playing. I will say,
did not pick it, or did he get hurt?
He got hurt. Yeah, concussion.
Okay.
From there, I feel something like that happened. The one that I did not care, like I loved that jumped on there and like sucked, is Joe Flacco. I just don't like that dude for some reason. Obviously not personal, but I kind of feel like it kind of is personal at the same time for no reason.
Well, he was always, he was the quarterback of a team that didn't need a quarterback, right? And ended up, I guess winning a Super Bowl. Got a lot of accolades, got a ridiculous contract when he didn't really deserve it. Kind of in the lines with like the Trent Dilfers and those type of guys that won Super Bowls on the backs of their incredible defense.
Yep.
So who are you picking?
I'm picking Pittsburgh to lose this game.
I'm going Carolina to lose.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Another potential cakewalk, although this one is in pretty decent disguise. I've said it from the beginning, even though the record doesn't state it too well, Jacksonville plays a whole different type of football at home. They had that massive comeback victory against the Raiders, which doesn't say much, but they completely crushed the Titans this past week. They shut down Henry. They completely controlled that game from start to finish. Trevor Lawrence had an amazing game. He and Christian Kirk are really starting to connect and figure each other out here. Dallas, on the other hand, got a scare, made it work. I don't know if they end up coming back and taking a deep breath and thinking that this is going to be a Houston Texans type game, or if they just put foot to ass out of the gate and try to make it. I'm going to go with Jacksonville losing, but I'm going to have an asterisk here, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas loses this game either.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome for Dallas Cowboy fans that they almost lost to Houston, because if they'd played that same game against Jacksonville, they're done. So have a little bit of a wake-up call. I don't think they're going to need that again. It's just a matter if they're any good or not. They seem to be decent the way they stomp with the Giants, but Jacksonville looking like they're starting to do pretty well here. I'm also going to add again and put this in the comments, because Casanova joined in late, but anybody can kind of jump in here and make their own picks on here, and it can be official, because the winner of this is going to get a Hooligan Battle Bunny, which is a Christmas really cool NFT that I'm very excited about. That'll drop next week. So anybody gets a chance to do that, just follow that form that I just put in there now.
So Casanova mentioned something in the comments too. I don't know if you want to pull it up about this being a trap game. And I don't know if you recall, but I mean, it's on the video. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned this as the potential for the Houston game. And Dallas potentially overlooking a team like Houston, because I thought the following week they were going to end up playing Philly, but it's in fact this week. So next week, Dallas plays Philly, which anybody who's played football and you're playing a pretty shitty team, and the following week you're playing a good team, you try to sneak in 1 or 2 extra, days of reps prepping for that, type of Philly team. That could easily become and set the trap for them to lose this game and kind of get caught like a deer with the headlights. So Dallas and Philly next week. Dallas needs to get through Jacksonville this week. Will they prepare properly? We'll see.
I'm going with Jacksonville to lose on this one.
All right. Here's another potential, cakewalk, which could turn ugly. KC going down to Houston. Houston, obviously, they flexed a little bit. They played decent. I don't know. This guy Mills, is he their future? Every time I see Texas, I just think of a quarterback getting sacked. Like, that is the history of this team, right? Kansas City did their job against a team like Denver, but had a little bit of a scare. I don't see them losing this game, especially now that Tennessee has kind of fallen off. Buffalo had their hiccups, and then they have a tougher schedule, especially with Miami in division game this week. I think Kansas City puts the screws to this, man, and tries to lock up the AFC.
Yep. And Jack Silverman, whose name is straight ETH Homie. Again, my favorite name in this whole thing. Asked if he had to get more ETH. That's up to you, man. But I think as a Spartan, you're getting to be able to claim one. But yes, we would love to get fed ETH as well. But
actually, let's I might get crucified by Krista on this again, but we're implementing a different or a subsequent checkout portal to that subsequent drop on the Battle Bunnies as well. So you can purchase either on ETH or through a credit card, but all that will be introduced. It's actually live on their website now, so hopefully she won't yell at me too much. But when we open the mint for that Euligans sub collection in the Battle Bunnies, you will have the option to either pay in ETH or just a standard credit card.
Yep. Making moves, man, getting better every time. And everybody's seen that that's been a part of this on fantasy league since we started. We're always thriving to get better technology, get better game mechanics, get better communication. I'm still working on not saying my slur words or swear words is what you're working on, but we're always trying to get better no matter what we're doing here.
I mean, I guess you've been trying to get better and winning at least 1 week this whole season, and you have not accomplished that quite yet. So I'm rooting for you, man. I'm rooting for you. I really want you to have a winner notch in your belt in this inaugural season, but I guess time will tell on that one.
Nope. I just notch things in my belt for different reasons, dude. I think, and Casanova knows, but I think first off, you're in trouble. And dude, I don't need the weekly win. It's great, but I'm in it for the championship bracket, the losers bracket, because that'll be fun. But I'm also in it for the all-time standings, and I am like a couple points away from that, and had it before Linda snatched it from my hands last night.
Yeah, we'll see if she holds on. I mean, this might be another question mark call for her to play in her wild card because she does have Arizona. I think it was on that Lazy Lion Sports Group conversation we had on Friday. I think Argentina just scored again.
You got to do the goal.
Yeah, go. That's actually my wife's team name here. Is football goal. When Call of Duty releases another game, Kyler Murray has a shit year.
What is this useless fact you just said?
Okay, so when Call of Duty introduces a new game, Kyler Murray has an awful season. And apparently he's massively addicted to that game.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I thought you were doing like a curse of the Madden where, the players that on the cover of the Madden
no.
each year.
This guy, like, he is insanely addicted to Call of Duty. Yeah, look, if you watched the game last night, look, I'm not gonna deny the fact that he's hurt. Non-contact injury, possibly a torn ACL, out for the season. I don't know. His thumbs aren't injured. He didn't break a hand. We'll see. But he's gone.
It's crazy to think like so. That's a real thing. The Madden curse is a real thing. Like you look back at these like there's been a big a lot of these instances when the player is on the cover, they end up losing. But maybe that's it. Maybe it's not supernatural, like most things aren't. Maybe it is because they like Madden. They start playing Madden, they get their aim off the focus a little bit, and then they get hurt. Who knows? Maybe we're onto something.
It's possible, but
Mythbusters.
I will say this though. I mean, even though Denver lost, they did look better against, a team like Kansas City, who's no cakewalk. I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say Arizona loses this game. Now, Colt McCoy had a decent enough, they didn't lose that game because of Colt McCoy last night. That's for damn sure. And James Conner is clearly a powerhouse. But I don't think that they can walk into Mile High in December and come out with a victory with all the injuries that they faced even last night. I'm going to go with the Cardinals losing this game.
I'm going to go with Denver losing this game.
All right. Now we get interesting. What is this? Their like third or fourth road game in a row, man. It feels like they just haven't been home yet.
They haven't been home. What sucks is even worse, and I got one more week of it, is that these are all night freaking games, 4 night games in a row. So that's why one of the reasons I'm freaking dying over here. Both of us are burning the candle at both ends here. And it sucks, but I think the Raiders are going to lose this one, and they better lose this one. I will say that every time Belichick plays his former assistant coaches, they tend to freaking beat him. Matt Patricia had like no wins when he was with Detroit, except against him. So, I don't know. I'm going to go with the Raiders losing it, but I really, really hope that's not the case. I mean, that is the case.
Well, I mean, these teams squared off in the preseason of all things. Not sure that matters. You're right about the Belichick underlings. I don't know if McDaniels has had a great year, to be honest with you. He actually might be on the radar to get fired.
I don't think so. Who the hell knows? But I think 2 things. One, his contract he gets paid so much money. So, I mean, NFL is all about coaching consistency, the reality of it, right? Like, that's why the Steelers, you have so much faith that Mike Tomlin's not going to end 500 just because they've had 2 coaches in like 30 years. So it's about consistency, right? So like day one on training camp, like everybody hits the ground running. So I think it'd be stupid to do that, but they're also paying them a lot of money. And if you watch that game with the Raiders in the huddle, like the players I was pretty surprised to see Carr and all the other players like locked into Josh McDaniels. He definitely hasn't lost that locker room from what I see.
I mean, look, dude, this is a team that had a 3-game winning streak, right? I mean, look, Carr is a joke. Yeah, look, he's not having a great season. If you were to tell me one of the reasons why Vegas is having such a shit year, would Carr come up in the conversation? Yes. Would McDaniels come up? Yes. Would Josh Jacobs? Absolutely not. I mean, would Devontae Adams? Absolutely not. Would their defensive line? Absolutely not. Max Crosby's, I think he's leading the league in sacks, or if not, he's up there, or at least tackles for losses. This is a great team. On paper, they have their shit together. Executing it, however, has been a question mark. Daniel Carlson is reliable enough of a kicker to put the ball in from over 50 yards each time. So, they have weapons. They're just not executing them the way they need to. And I think that, the last 3 games, and I told you last week, I mentioned it here, they cannot walk into LA and play in that new stadium. They've lost there, I think, every time. And just so happens that this time was to the Rams instead of the division Chargers, but they have a real problem in that building. So it wasn't that much of a shock that they lost that game in the way that they did. Although, give credit where credit's due to Baker Mayfield coming in on, not knowing what the hell was happening and winning a game like that after only being on the team for 48 hours. But I really think that the Raiders can, in a game like this, where it means more to McDaniels, and he did not lose that locker room, to your point, I think it means more to him and to the team to win it for him. I'm going with the Patriots losing this.
Wow. Well, Mountain Hikers will be happy if that's the case, because she has the Patriots win-loss in that, which is annoying to me. that a New Englander would play that, but I also get it as well. So, but no way, Raiders going to lose that game. I hope. It might be my delusional fanboy in me.
Maybe. Back-to-back home games for the Chargers, facing off against Tennessee. Tennessee did not impress me. Tannehill made a lot of mistakes in that game. Henry has not been, he's not been playing, I guess, to his normal standards. I don't know if he's battling an injury or what.
He had an awful fumble in the game.
Yeah.
The part of the game that I watched of that.
And, that really makes all the difference, especially this time of the year, right? That's why you lose to a division team like Jacksonville, who you should have trampled and maintained some sort of a driver's seat in the top of the AFC. I think the Chargers are still fighting for their life, man. And I think that this past week when they beat Miami, kind of gave them a little fire to work off of. I don't see Tennessee flying across the country and pulling this off, man. I got them losing this game.
Yep, I got the Titans losing. What's their division like? Are they the division leaders?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think Jacksonville still has a fighting shot. They're 5-8. Tennessee is 7-6. Indianapolis and obviously Houston, I think, is eliminated already. They're 1-11-1. But the Colts are just they're not a factor. I think that if Jacksonville could win out and if Tennessee continues to struggle, we could really see an upset here. I don't think Jacksonville is in the wild card contention. I think that there's just too much competition in the rest of the AFC. So that might be a one-team division playoff contender. But I wouldn't be shocked if Jacksonville kind of, skirts by, gets a win this week, watches Tennessee lose this game, and, who knows, man? They could easily pull it out the last 3 weeks of the season.
Yep. I'm going with the Tennessee to lose that game.
So here's an interesting one. I read an article this morning that Brady started talking shit about Cincinnati's defense already. I don't know what grounds he has to say that on because he's played like shit all year.
What do you read? He wouldn't talk shit. It's not a guy that would talk shit.
No, never.
Well, not to the press because I don't think that would be advantageous.
Well, maybe it's just all taken out of context. Who knows? But if that's the talk of the week, then Cincinnati's defense is even going to step it up further. This is a very dangerous team in December as of late, the last few seasons. And I think they continue along that point. I think Mixon, the combination of Mixon, a very healthy wide receiver core, and a guy like Burrows, who's really starting to get a lot of experience this time of year and trying to figure out ways to win games this time of year. I don't see Tampa getting anything together, even at home. I say they lose this game and makes the NFC South even that much more interesting.
I'm just going to look real quick to see who Surviving the Survivor is playing this week because they have Tampa Bay as their win-loss card. So it'd be interesting to see what
have them on special teams too.
Got them on special teams. So they are playing Royale with Cheese. So that'll be interesting. Who is Royale with Cheese's lineup, I wonder? I don't know, but keep talking. I'm interested to see what that's going to pull it out.
I got it up.
Oh, I got you, man. I'm off the screen, so I don't see.
Oh, so they got Tennessee's offense, which may or may not do anything against LA. Carolina, that's a Pittsburgh defense, so maybe Pittsburgh posts a lot of points on that. Detroit, Buffalo maybe has a dirty game against Miami in penalties. Who knows? And then that win-loss against Kansas City. That might be a pretty good card to play this week.
Yep. I'll be definitely playing that Houston card. And Krista says that you're not in trouble. She'd love to do more logos. That's instantly saw it when I saw this Bengals one. That's what popped in my head. But you can't just ask a world-renowned, busy artist like Krista Lenatra to jump in and do something like that. I do love the she saved our ass with the Detroit logo.
Yeah, and I'd like her to, I'd definitely like to see her skill set put to something other than kitty cats. I mean, I'm pretty sure we can come up with some other cool logos that they could easily
do whatever the heck she wants, for sure. But that popped in my head.
Awesome. All right. This one, I guess from a league perspective, might be the most critical game of the week. These two teams faced off 2 weeks ago.
League or from you? For you,
your
tie.
No, not from my point of view at all, man. This is massive playoff implications here. Both of these teams are coming in. They need these wins, man. That tie actually helps both of these teams, ironically, in the ability to kind of pursue that final wild card spot in the NFC. But, Washington clearly had the bye last week, but before that, they've been playing damn well. So don't know how all this plays out with them. I know that New York played awful last week against Philly. Saquon, I know, is battling an injury. I'm still not a believer in Daniel Jones. I don't think I ever was. Offensively, they got a ton of work to do. Defensively, they got a lot of soul searching to do too, man. They've been fighting injuries over the last few weeks, and I know they lost a couple guys for the season. I say New York loses this game in DC, man. I think Washington's too good of a team right now.
Wow. If I didn't know any better, I would probably try to think that you were trying to get me to play my New York win-loss card against this.
No, you're just going to wait to see who I play and then play that same card.
Yep. That's it. That's what you say. I'm going to go with the Redskins or the Commanders to lose this game. And real quick, Doug, it's an inside joke here. Created a very epic POAP that probably won't get out to the rest of the world here, but there is a POAP for this. All you got to do is go to the Battle Bunnies Discord and figure out it from there. I don't know the logistics of it specifically, but you can get a POAP for this. Some people joined it for this specifically. We appreciate it. Doug, you can also jump in and scroll up the links to find through all these comments. There's a form that we're sharing a screen with. You actually can make your picks, and there's an opportunity to win a Battle Bunny Hooligan off of this as well. And let's throw in a playing card. Somebody can win a playing card into this as well with the form.
Yeah, the playing card for sure. And I want to throw in another curveball here. And, if you have the opportunity to edit the form, put a tie in this game. And if there's another tie between these two teams, which I don't think has ever happened in the NFL history, I don't think two teams have tied in their both games. I will send them any playing card of their choosing from my stash if they correctly guess that.
Wow. I mean, you might as well just do it now.
Well, they have to loot. They have to tie the game first.
Yeah, but might as well. What's the what? Might as well do it. Might as well. I'm going in there and doing it. Will you honor that with me?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, then I won't change the form. All right.
Who'd you pick in that game?
Commanders are losing that game.
Giants fan all of a sudden. Look at you. All right.
I'm an unfan of the Giants, that's for sure.
Baker and Rodgers. This is going to be a cold game, man. I think this is Monday Night Football, if I'm not mistaken. So even more so at night. I don't know, man. Green Bay has really kind of found something with this Christian Watson kid. I think Rodgers might lean on that. You're looking at basically a resurged, crap team in the Rams, with Baker. I don't know if he has enough juice to give him another springboarded kind of like moral victory against a team like Green Bay. I just don't see them marching into Green Bay in mid-December and pulling out a victory here, man. I got the Rams losing.
Yep. I got the Rams losing as well. That'll be interesting. I'm glad that you said it's going to be cold. That's good alpha, because I have the Rams offense of card that hasn't really I thought it was going to be great. The last couple of weeks hasn't really done that great for me, but it has helped my accumulative score. It's put me into the number 2 overall seed in this league all time.
You've leaned on them pretty heavily, actually, because not only do you play their offense, but I think the last 2 weeks you've also played their defense. And I don't know if that was a matchup play on your part or you just completely think that they're a god-awful team from top to bottom. But it's worked out to your advantage. You've climbed a couple spots in the standings, but, that summit is just not quite in your grasp. It keeps getting rugged from you, man.
No, but it was there. I don't know if it counts. I was there, right? You can't say I wasn't there at the top spot. I was there. And then it got when the Patriots won and beat the Cardinals, and Goal Stoppers had the Cardinals to lose, it took me out. So I feel like I was there already. I saw the summit. You can't stay at the summit too long. You got to get down, man, because it's a long way down to base camp when you climb a mountain that high. Anybody can still win it. We've seen a lot of different people fall off. So this thing is not over, and you can jump up really quick, including people like Thank You Very Much, my boy who's been at the bottom all week, and he still is at the bottom, but he's had a few weeks of consistency that's kind of pushed him up more towards the middle of the pack. So this ain't over, as Yogi Berry. It's like Halle Berry and Yogi Bear had a child. Would it be hot or not? I don't know, but it ain't over till it's over.
It's not by any means. And look, we got 4 weeks of football left, dude. Like, there's a lot that could happen in those 4 weeks in a league like this. So I know we keep stressing it, man, but nobody's ever out of it. I mean, we saw a team like Hollow Fam actually crawl their way out of the basement spot. And I think they're moving their way up the rankings pretty quickly as well. So this is a team that was the last team to accumulate the 300-point club. They've kind of stayed in neutral for the most part of their existence in this league. But the last few weeks, they've lit a fire, man, and they've made some moves. And that, combined with a couple teams just not performing well, they're moving up.
Yep.
Moving on up.
What's crazy, man? It's been the years flown by. We're at that crazy part of the season. This week has been crazy for both of us because we're doing a million different things and have a million different deadlines for the UNfantasy League, also for the Battle Bunnies. So jump into the Discord for the Battle Bunnies. My kid is in the Division II Youth Football National Championships, which has been awesome and scary at the same time because we saw who they were going to play. And one kid was like holding a Chucky doll that looked like it came from the Bored to Death NFT drop, for crying out loud. So there's some real deal players in there, but we have practice pretty much every day, a couple games Thursday. Of course, we got the holidays coming up. So it's been crazy for everybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, if anything, we hope that this league is just a kind of a way to, get away from the family for a couple minutes, look at your lineup, curse out the interceptions, and cheer on your teams to suck. I mean, if anything, it puts a little smile and Christmas and holiday cheer in everybody a little bit. But we're gonna keep making sure that these things are updated as quickly as possible. I guess the best format is to join the Telegram channel because we do keep a lot of the conversations alive, especially during the games. I know Linda likes to go out and watch the games and, tweet from the bar and really kind of show off that she's, she has a life outside of a computer, which, I sit here in the enclosed walls of my desk, no beer in sight, with a little tear in my eye as I'm updating the lineups to keep her engaged. But this league wouldn't be anything without all you guys and, your participation. So we're going to honor that. And even through the holidays, we're going to do what we can do to keep those lineups and those matchups available for everybody to reference at any point.
Yep. And I'll put another link in here for that Telegram chat that anybody can join in from there. A lot of different things here. We got the form to fill out to win a chance to win a playing card, but also a Hooligan from the Battle Bunnies projects. We got this, which is the Telegram chat. And that's like a novel in and of itself because we got the novel coming out. But sometimes it's like a novel reading all these chats. It's been awesome to see that. Definitely envious of that sports bar that Linda and Goalstoppers has near their place. We mentioned Mythbusters earlier. I feel like her hubby or her boy was in that show. He looks exactly like it. So it's been cool. You also got the POAP. Thank you for reminding me there. You get that. I don't know. Hit us on the Telegram channel. Would be the easiest way to try to figure that out. But it would be great to go to the Battle Bunnies Discord and search there. If you can't, hit us back up and we'll go from there. I'm not, Jack says I'm Ink Masters. I'm definitely not Ink Link, or I think he said Ink Masters, Link Master. That makes sense. But again, thanks to Jack for bringing the cold weather to Florida from Minnesota. And yeah, man, I got nothing else to add. Appreciate it. It was a fun one. And we're like zombies, but it's been good, Mike. Thanks for all the stuff that you're doing, dude.
Yeah, look, thank you too, man. And thank everybody. This has been a hell of a ride and we're not over yet. We got a lot of things cooking, especially, yes, beyond this actual season that we'll bring to light pretty shortly. So look, anybody that you guys know that's sports fans that would appreciate a league that's a little different from the norm, this is the place to be. We want to grow this organically. We want to grow this with you guys. And, obviously the more people you bring in, the more fun it gets and the more fun it becomes. That being said, if things play out, interestingly enough, this week with your game against Bladder Kickers, you better just call out sick next Tuesday, dude, because you will not hear the end of it.
Okay.
It'll be a very, very interesting Trash Talk Tuesday. So keep an eye on that. Nothing but fumbles bladder kickers game this week in the losers bracket. And if bladder kickers wins, you better make sure your schedule is clear to tune in on next week's Trash Talk Tuesday.
Yep, and everybody that got knocked out of the playoffs and this week and this round, keep up to date in those lineups for not just the weekly standings and the all-time standings, but there's going to be a re-entry point into the Winers bracket for you, the consolation bracket, which will still be fun. So, yeah, man, I appreciate you, and I'll catch you next week.